Today, we discuss the latest news surrounding Lukaku's future, as well as the big news that dropped surrounding Declan Rice stating he won't be signing any new contracts with West Ham. Some of the things to break down and discuss, you guys. Before we get into anything, I've got two big plugs to get out of the way first. But the first one, I did release a video yesterday just sharing my thoughts and observations, just examining our recent form under Thomas Tuchel. I do feel like potentially maybe the way I titled the video and advertised it didn't necessarily reflect what the video was actually about, which was a lot more positive than maybe the video actually suggested. So if you guys want to watch it and help support the channel, of course, you'll find a link to that in the card above. And for the next big plug, today's video is brought to you by OneFootball. OneFootball is an app that I use religiously every single day. I use it to get like the stats as well for the scrolling text that I use in my match reviews as well too. And for me, I just love how convenient and easy it is to get all the up-to-date news surrounding all footballing news happening across Europe. As you guys can see on the homepage, you're seeing all the latest reports coming out in the Premier League. And if you want like more specific information, it becomes even easier. All you have to do is go to your profile. You see the follow buttons, follow any club, nation, player if you're choosing. Of course, you guys, I got Chelsea Football Club right here, and I get to see all the latest Chelsea news that has just dropped today. So honestly, OneFootball makes it so much easier to get the information and access that you want literally straight from your phone. And if you still haven't downloaded OneFootball, now is the perfect time. You'll find a link below, straight in the description. Click on it, you guys, and I'm telling you, you won't regret downloading this app. So now we start with the first story, and let's discuss the latest news surrounding our record signing in our history in Romelu Lukaku. Now, this report came from goal.com from Nizar Kinsella, and essentially it seems like AC Milan could be a club looking to take Lukaku on boards for next summer. What does that mean about his love affair with Inter Milan? Who knows? But we do know that in Serie A, it seems like those loyalties and those ties aren't really as deep as how it is in the Premier League. For example, I look at like the amount of clubs that Ibrahimovic signed for in Serie A. It just would never happen here. Imagine a player playing for like Arsenal, City, Liverpool. It doesn't work. But anyway, we get back and we focus on the news that came out. And essentially, Milan could be an interesting escape route for Lukaku. Currently, we know he's on 325k per week. He does have like a club book value of 77 million, meaning that anyone who wants to sign him has to cough up the money. He's going to cost a ton of money. And essentially, this sale is going to depend on the fact that when new owners finally take over the club. At this point in time, it seems like Todd Boehly is the favourite to buy a club currently. They're gonna, of course, hold discussions that acknowledge whether the fact that Lukaku could remain here, or of course, maybe accept the fact that he doesn't fit the system, and of course, move him on and then reinvest that money back into the team. Of course, with AC Milan, what makes predicaments very interesting currently is that they are looking to get new investment from the Middle East, in particular from Bahrain. And essentially, of course, you know, once they can finalize a deal with this Bahrain company, the idea is that they'll have the funds and money to be able to sign a big marquee name during the summer window, and potentially with Milan needing to really focus on signing a striker. You know, Ibrahimovic has been injured throughout the season. Giroud is experienced, but he's not necessarily the guy that's going to help you, you know, like lead a title-winning campaign. And it's obvious that they need to sign a quality striker who's in their prime, and Lukaku knows Serie A, and he's very comfortable living his life in Milan previously. So let's see what happens. You know, to give my thoughts and opinions, it's quite clear that the interview, that ill-timed interview that Lukaku released, has just never been able to escape him. And since then, you know, it's just been bad luck after bad luck. I mean, not only is it getting things like COVID and getting injuries, he's heavily out of form as well too. He's barely been playing for us, he's been out the team. And on top of that, it seems like he's lost all the faith and love and respect actually from a lot of people in the fan base. And when you have all these things working against you, it's only natural that that's going to affect your mentality on the field. You're going to be more nervous, you're going to be more indecisive, you're not going to be at your confident best, in which Lukaku originally started when, of course, we first signed him during the start of the season. And I don't know though, you know, I do feel like it's not all just Lukaku, even though in this entire piece, you know, he does play a big part in this, and of course, you know, he does have to acknowledge his involvement. Let's not try and downplay that. But at the same time too, ultimately strikers rely upon the service that they receive, and I'm always gonna kind of have a feeling towards the fact that, you know, let strikers strike. You know, I know it's cool to have strikers very comfortable with like incredible link up play and incredible play between the lines and close control, but the reality is that there aren't many strikers that have that type of technical play that are even available in the market like that. You know, Lukaku's always been a guy that gets on the end of moves to score them. That's originally why he prospered at Inter Milan. And I guess, you know, it doesn't paint too much confidence that we weren't able to recreate these conditions for him to succeed here, especially considering the fact that I thought we were quite quick, even though it's very understandable. Hindsight could be playing a part, but we were very quick to just kind of forget about Timo Werner, even though, and as Zola himself said at the end of last season, he complements and suits playing alongside Havertz and Mount, and actually suits what Tuchel wants in the team. You know, with more faith, with more patience, and as we're seeing now, we're seeing some very good form from Timo Werner, which I thought he wouldn't be able to actually bring back again, to keep things brutally honest and real. You know, it does paint a picture that maybe Tuchel could have got things wrong when, you know, being okay with the signing of Lukaku. Now, I'm not here to say this is all on Tuchel. Of course, you guys, this is a team game. You know, he's working alongside Marina. He's working alongside some of the scouts as well too to come to that decision. However, ultimately for me though, I think it's fair to say that if there was no real plan to be able to, you know, get the best out of his game with how we play in our current system, then I do feel like Tuchel has to take some responsibility for, you know, why Lukaku hasn't necessarily, you know, worked in the squad and in the team. For me, the main thing is that lack of foresight to not be able to tell what would happen in the future if Lukaku wasn't given the right service, because it gets me questioning now, do I feel as confident that we can sign that perfect player for Tuchel's system? And it gets me thinking more as well too, but does Tuchel know the type of striker profile that can exceed and meet the demands of the system? I mean, these are interesting questions, you know, I'm still thinking about. You know, if we are going to move him on, I need to know we are getting a guaranteed striker that will complement how we play, because if we don't get that, you guys, we won't be challenging with your Liverpools and your Man Cities. So that is Lukaku's story out of the way. We now end things with a big story today, and that's on the latest news surrounding Declan Rice and his future. Now, news is broken from British publications as well as Fabrizio Romano, who does, you know, when he knows what the truth is, of course, expect to see a tweet coming out supporting whatever the news is. And that's the fact that Declan Rice, for the third time, has refused to extend his contract with West Ham. Now, of course, we do know that this ain't the first time that Rice has declared that he won't be signing a new contract. At the end of last season, when Champions League clubs were showing interest for the player, he also made it publicly known. And to be honest, I don't blame the guy whatsoever, because West Ham, they have placed a 150 mil valuation to try and just literally put off any potential buyers and suitors. You know, Rice has ambitions to go to the next level, to play Champions League football, you know, to compete for top honours, to win things. His impact for West Ham has been incredible, and he's given them an incredible platform since he made his debut as a 17-year-old in the Premier League. However, I don't think it's particularly fair to slap a price tag this high on him, even though I respect the fact that West Ham still have their ambitions to meet, and of course have their own ambitions to grow and improve as a club. But I just think that now you're forcing Rice to have to play hardball in the most respectful way he can, because of course he respects the West Ham fans, he respects people at the club, he's got close ties with a lot of people, you know, he's well respected, people like him. So he's not going to do anything mad like, you know, be public with his interests to move away from West Ham. But he's going to be subtle with that. And, you know, to paint that picture that, listen, I won't be signing any new deal, that's going to have to force West Ham to have to react right now. And let's see what happens in the summer. You know, terrible news is that maybe Tchouaméni is probably destined to be signing for Real Madrid. Ugh. I mean, that's just mad that we didn't sign this guy last summer. We wanted to sign Koundé instead of signing the mid. And look how not signing a mid has cost us this season. Don't even get me started, you guys. But for me, can't be making any mistakes now by not signing Rice, because Rice will be a leading midfield player in this country for the foreseeable future. It really is that simple, you know. I do think at times, and I'm going to maybe give my thoughts and opinions now, that, I don't know, some of the criticism against him is just so misguided, and it's a bit disappointing, in my personal opinion. You know, I've seen common arguments being the fact that, you know, why are we showing so much praise and interest in a player that doesn't play for us, as if guys weren't signing for Havertz and Haaland and every player that's linked with us. You know, and also, on top of that as well too, you know, I feel like this English bias factor that some people assume that, you know, Rice is being seen with a lot of privilege and not being seen actually for the great player he is. For me, that's the most misguided part of all of this, because, you know, it's telling me that you're not seeing what's happening in English football. You know, English players these days feel a lot more continental than they've ever felt in God knows how long. And Rice is at the forefront of this, like, new way that England are producing players. I mean, we can't forget, yeah, that this guy literally came from our academy. This guy has Cobham DNA. He's been there since 8 years old. He left at 15, and after leaving us, it took him 2 years to break into West Ham's first team. You know, that just sums up, you know, the high level of player that comes up from our academy, the talent he has, and also the footballing education which he was raised upon. Because, of course, you know, let's keep things real. If he was like, you know, progress through the West Ham youth ranks since he was a kid, would he be the same player that he is now if he didn't actually have all those years coming up from our ranks? Personally, I don't think so. And I'm not trying to, like, disrespect the West Ham Academy, but I just feel like the level of coaching that you get here is just going to elevate you and give you bigger advantages as you progress in your career. And for me, Rice has it all. Not only would he give Tuchel the opportunity now to finally evolve the midfield, which is something that he has spoken about in interviews recently as well too. Finally, for me, I think we could then really compete with like a Liverpool and a Man City, who, you know, have both been taking advantage of using a holding mid in their team. And for me, it's no surprise that by having that holding mids, they're able to use more attacking players in their squad, which results in more goals and more wins against a lot of teams that we have been struggling and have been losing a lot of surprising points to throughout these past 2 seasons. So for me, Rice is the right capture to take us to the next level. He understands the club already, has Premier League experience. All it comes down to is West Ham playing ball. I think it could work. I think if we potentially included a player in the deal to bring the price down, that could definitely work. I mean, it's no surprise to me that we were inclined to sell Zuma to West Ham. I think you're building up like a good repertoire with the club, a good understanding, because in the future, for sure, you know, Rice was always going to have a future here with us, in my opinion. And for me, you know, the guy's just been cooking ever since he made his debut as a 17-year-old. He's got incredible passing in terms of being that DM at the back. You know, he plays between the lines, pins that pass between the lines here. He plays with his head up, and you see the technique, how he opens his body up, how he can drive past opponents, his defending, his defensive reading of the game. I mean, I'm gonna have to do like a big tactical breakdown of Declan Rice and why this guy really is the real deal, because, you know, I just feel like agendas and biases have to be put in away so we can just see the player for what he is and what he can bring to the team. So you guys, that is the latest news surrounding him and Romelu Lukaku. It seems like big things are coming this summer. Let's see what happens. And on that note, I'm the EFC, the Sis Blue Lions TV. I'll catch you guys later with some more videos. Cool.